From our Chicago studios, this is the Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum, I'm Samana Siddiqui. San Francisco Mayor Daniel Lurie has announced that the city will be offering free childcare for families earning up to $230,000 a year. It will also extend a 50% subsidy to households making as much as $310,000 a year. The initiative falls under Lurie's Family Opportunity Agenda, a plan aimed at easing the cost of living in one of the most expensive cities in the U.S. The policy expands eligibility for the program, as previously, free childcare was limited to families earning just over the city's median income. Now, many middle-income households will also qualify. In San Francisco, childcare typically costs between $20,000 and $30,000 per child annually, which is far above federal affordability benchmarks. City officials say the new subsidies bring costs closer to that standard. The program will be funded through unused revenue from a voter-approved childcare tax passed in 2018. Lurie linked the program to broader efforts on housing, education, healthcare, and transport, saying the program could save families tens of thousands of dollars each year. New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani has welcomed a settlement that forces the far-right Zionist organization Betar to shut down its operations in New York. The state had launched an investigation against the group for threats and harassment. New York Attorney General Letitia James said her office found Betar engaged in intimidation and violent threats linked to protests over Israel's genocide in Gaza. In her statement on Tuesday, James said Betar had engaged in widespread persecution of Muslim, Arab, Palestinian, and Jewish New Yorkers. The investigation began in March 2025 after complaints from these groups. Officials say investigators reviewed public statements, social media posts, and direct conduct. They concluded the group targeted protesters and critics, including Jewish voices who disagreed with Betar's pro-Israel views. Under the settlement, Betar must immediately stop encouraging violence or harassing individuals exercising their right to protest. A suspended $50,000 penalty will take effect if the group violates the agreement. The Attorney General's office says Betar is dissolving its nonprofit status and winding down activities in the state. Betar rejects claims of extremism and claims that it represents mainstream Zionism. Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado presented her Nobel Peace Prize medal to President Donald Trump during a private White House meeting on Thursday. Machado said the gesture was meant to recognize what she called Trump's commitment to Venezuela's freedom. It remains unclear whether Trump formally accepted the medal. Trump later wrote on his Truth Social account that Machado had given him her Nobel Peace Prize, calling it a sign of mutual respect. The White House described the talks as positive. It was their first meeting since the violent January 3rd U.S. military operation that led to the capture and abduction of Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro. Trump has previously questioned Machado's political support inside Venezuela and has instead backed Delcy Rodriguez, a former Maduro deputy. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said Trump had been looking forward to the meeting, which included a private lunch. New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani says the city is taking legal action against a delivery app accused of shortchanging workers. Mamdani says the Department of Consumer and Worker Protection is filing a case against MotoClick after dozens of complaints. Drivers allege stolen tips, illegal fees, and violations of minimum wage rules. Mamdani said delivery workers deserve dignity and fair pay and warned that other companies could face action next. He cited changes by platforms such as DoorDash and Uber Eats that made tipping harder, leading to an estimated $550 million in lost tips. The mayor said warning letters have been sent to 60 app companies ahead of new worker protection laws taking effect on January 26th. Progressive lawmakers in Congress are vowing to block funding for the Department of Homeland Security, or DHS, unless immigration enforcement reforms are included. The threat is raising the risk of a partial government shutdown. The warning came from the Democratic-aligned Congressional Progressive Caucus as lawmakers raced to pass funding bills before the month-end deadline. The dispute intensified after the fatal shooting of a U.S. citizen in Minneapolis by an Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, agent last week. Caucus Deputy Chair Ilhan Omar said members would oppose any funding unless the DHS ends militarized policing. Progressives are demanding limits on ICE's powers, including warrant requirements, a ban on masks, and an end to private detention centers. Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal says abuses are widespread and must be addressed together. Senators Ed Markey and Chris Murphy joined protests urging Congress to force changes through funding pressure. Top House Democrat Hakeem Jeffries also backed calls for accountability. Muslim travel is one of the world's fastest growing tourism segments and is projected to reach 230 million travelers by 2028, with spending estimated at $225 billion. Global Islamic economy platform Salam Gateway has ranked the world's top Muslim-friendly resorts based on prayer access, Qibla directions, nearby mosques, halal food, alcohol-free policies, and private or women-only facilities. Turkey leads the list, with Women Deluxe in Antalya at number 1, followed by Adenia Hotel and Resort, also in the same city. Both are known for alcohol-free environments and gender-segregated beaches. The Maldives also features strongly, including Fiavalhu Resort Maldives and Hideaway Beach Resort and Spa. Other destinations span Mauritius, Oman, the United Arab Emirates, Thailand, Mexico, and the Caribbean. A U.S. federal appeals court has ruled that a lower court judge lacked the authority to order the release of Free Palestine activist Mahmoud Khalil last year. It is reopening the possibility that he could again be taken into custody. In a 2-1 decision, the Philadelphia-based Third U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals said federal immigration law stripped the trial court of jurisdiction to hear Khalil's challenge. The ruling strengthens the hand of the Trump administration, which is pursuing Khalil's deportation. Khalil is a lawful U.S. resident and a graduate student at Columbia University. He was detained without a warrant in New York in March and later transferred to an immigration detention facility in Louisiana. The administration argued his presence threatened U.S. foreign policy without publicly presenting evidence. A federal judge in New Jersey had ordered his release on bail in June and barred deportation. Khalil called the latest ruling deeply disappointing, but said he would continue his legal fight. The New York Civil Liberties Union also criticized the decision. An Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE agent, shot a man during an arrest attempt. Details coming after the break.
My name is Layla. I was an average kid until Zula Inc. broke into my life because my dad discovered time travel. After that, everything changed.
You're the new girl Layla, right?
Whoa! What if I don't fit in?
Abdullah!
Do I hear my name?
Oh!
Welcome to Vancouver, cuz.
Whoa! Whoa!
You four have been specially chosen to take our project into the next generation.
You can time travel?
Abdullah! No! Abdullah! Where?
Do you really think I don't know why we had to leave Seattle, Mama?
Now here, keep these close. These should never leave your wrist.
This virtual reality game is crazy. You can even eat. This is reality, buddy. We zoomed through a wormhole.
Oh no, my Go Watch! It's gone!
What does this do?
That's Al-Khwarizmi. You know, the father of mathematics. It's because of him we have algorithms.
I will not stop until your legacy, everyone's legacy, lies in ruins. it was you. You little rascals ruined everything.
Your fate will be great. Just don't give up.
Time hoppers.
An Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, agent shot a man during an arrest attempt in Minneapolis, marking the second officer-involved shooting in the city within a week. The violence triggered renewed unrest on the streets. The Department of Homeland Security, or DHS, confirmed that an ICE agent opened fire on a Venezuelan national on Wednesday. Officials claimed the agent fired what they described as defensive shots during the encounter. Hours later, protests erupted near downtown Minneapolis. Demonstrators clashed with federal officers, vandalized a vehicle believed to be used by agents, and spray-painted threatening and anti-immigration enforcement slogans. Police said fireworks were thrown at officers, prompting the use of tear gas and flashbangs to disperse the crowd. The latest shooting comes just days after the fatal killing of Renee Nicole Good, a 37-year-old American mother of three who was shot by an immigration agent last week. Federal authorities have defended the shooting as self-defense, a claim strongly disputed by local leaders. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey have urged calm, warning that further violence will only deepen tensions. President Donald Trump has threatened to invoke the Insurrection Act of 1807 and deploy federal troops if Minnesota officials obstruct immigration and customs enforcement, or ICE, operations. In a post on Truth Social, Trump accused Minnesota leaders of allowing agitators to target ICE officers. He threatened that federal intervention would follow if state and local authorities did not comply. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem said she has discussed the option with the president, urging Minnesota leaders to cooperate with federal agencies. The White House claims that Iranian authorities have paused hundreds of planned executions as protests continue across the country. The White House said Thursday that Iran has halted about 800 scheduled executions following weeks of nationwide protests. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt told reporters the executions were due to take place earlier this week but were stopped. She said President Donald Trump and his team are closely monitoring the situation and assessing next steps. Leavitt added that all options remain on the table as the administration reviews developments related to Iran. Trump has repeatedly voiced support for protesters in Iran and warned of strong action if executions go ahead. He has accused Iranian authorities of carrying out a violent crackdown. Iranian officials, meanwhile, have blamed the unrest on what they call foreign-backed riots, accusing the United States and Israel of involvement. Iran has not released official casualty figures. The U.S.-based human rights activist news agency estimates that more than 2,600 people have been killed, including protesters and security personnel. Palestinians in Jerusalem gathered at Al-Aqsa Mosque on Thursday to observe Lailat Al-Miraj, the night of ascension, despite ongoing Israeli limits on entry to the compound. Recitations from the Holy Quran echoed through the complex as families and elders joined the night prayers. Lailat al-Miraj is traditionally observed on the 27th night of Rajab, the 7th month of the Islamic calendar. The night commemorates Prophet Muhammad's journey from Mecca to Jerusalem and his ascension to the heavens. Participants said the occasion holds deep spiritual meaning, especially in Jerusalem, where Al-Aqsa stands at the heart of Muslim faith and identity. Despite Israel's restrictions, worshippers said they were determined to mark the night with prayers, reflection, and quiet resilience. Israel has killed at least 8 people, including a child, in its latest attacks across Gaza, according to Palestinian medical officials. They say Israel is continuing to violate the U.S.-backed and UN-mandated ceasefire, which came into effect on October 10th. Medical sources say Israeli warplanes struck a home in Deir al-Balah with 2 missiles, killing 5 Palestinians from the same family, including a child. Several others were wounded and rushed to Al-Aqsa Martyrs Hospital, where doctors warned that the death toll could rise. In a separate incident in the same city, Israeli fire hit the courtyard of a nearby house, killing 2 more Palestinians, according to medical officials. Further south, emergency teams recovered the body of a Palestinian man from the Mawasi area of Rafah. Medical sources say gunshot wounds were visible on his body. The attacks came after Israeli soldiers shot at and injured a Palestinian girl in Jabalia, an area from which Israeli forces had withdrawn under the ceasefire. The UN and Palestinian officials say Israel has repeatedly violated the ceasefire in Gaza since October, killing at least 394 Palestinians, including children. France's National Assembly Law Committee has blocked a bill that would have banned minors from wearing headscarves in public spaces. The proposal was introduced by lawmakers from the Republican Party and backed by party leader Laurent Wauquiez. It was rejected at the committee stage, according to French media reports. Despite the setback, the bill will return to the National Assembly for debate on January 22nd, during the time reserved for the Republican group. The draft law sought to prohibit parents from requiring or allowing underage daughters to wear clothing that conceals their hair in public. Supporters argued the measure would protect girls from gender inequality and enforce religious identity. Law Committee Chair Florent Boudy warned the proposal could violate constitutional principles of secularism. Left-wing lawmakers called the bill discriminatory and unconstitutional. The far-right National Rally supported it, but raised legal concerns over its scope. The African Union is urging the U.S. Senate to approve a 3-year extension of the African Growth and Opportunity Act. Enacted in 2000, it allows nearly 40 sub-Saharan African countries duty-free access to U.S. markets. The program expired last September after its previous 10-year extension ended. The bill to extend the program was passed by the House of Representatives with strong bipartisan support. The African Union said the trade program remains a cornerstone of economic relations between the United States and Africa. The bill was adopted in the United States House of Representatives by a vote of 340 to 54. New research shows that tropical forests can grow back up to twice as fast after deforestation when soils contain enough nitrogen. The study tracked forest recovery across Central America for nearly 2 decades, with researchers monitoring 76 forest plots that had been cleared for logging or farming. Some plots received nitrogen, others phosphorus, some received both, and others none at all. During the first 10 years of regrowth, forests that received sufficient nitrogen recovered at about double the speed. Scientists say faster regrowth also means more carbon pulled from the atmosphere, estimating that nitrogen shortages may be preventing nearly 0.7 billion tons of carbon dioxide from being stored each year. The research was led by the University of Leeds with partners, and the findings were published this week in the peer-reviewed journal Nature Communications. That's all from our Chicago studios tonight. Thank you for watching Muslim News. We are a community channel dedicated to bringing you stories you can trust. Please like, share, and subscribe to our content. You can also comment to let us know what you think of our coverage. Please donate now by visiting muslimnetwork.tv/donate. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV. Salam.